Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies in their diapers, welcome to the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.
That's me, Tiberius. Today we're going to talk about some very awesome stuff. We have a video about bowling, a book about unintended consequences, and we have a totally awesome guest. Today we have the one, the only, the amazing Daniel Whitehurst. Daniel is a musician, teacher, and puppeteer at Disney.
Thank you for having me. I've been waiting for this day.
You are welcome. And also, today we're going to start off with the video of the week, and this is going to be a strike.
And now it's time for the video game of the week.
Now it's time for the video game of the week. Today's video game is Row Bowling. So this is a game on the Roblox platform. It was made by Row Bowling. Because it is on Roblox, you can play it on PC, Mac, Xbox, and even your cell phone. And it is free! Well, you start the game, and then you see a loading screen. Then you press play when it is done. So you move into the bowling alley, and you see a front desk. So you go to the front desk, and then you ask for a solo lane. This then moves you to an open lane if there is one open. So what you do is it says it's your turn, then you pick up your ball, and then you go up to the lane. There's an aiming cursor so that you can use to throw your ball. If you get a strike, you will see no more pins up, and then you will get a big fat X on the board for a strike. My high score is a 246 in the game, and that is so cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I think my kid plays this game.
Well, I give bowling 9 out of 10 stars because it was so much fun to play and compete with my dad. But after a while, the game got boring when there's nothing to do but get strikes. Over 40 years, Lighthouse Central Florida has provided education, independent life skills, and job training to thousands of Central Floridians who live with blindness or any degree of vision loss. Whether it's picking out clothes in the morning or just moving around your community and serving Orange, Seminole, and Osceola counties, contact Lighthouse Central Florida at 407-898-2483 or visit them online at lighthousecfl.org.
The Tiberius Show would like to thank one of their dedicated sponsors, Custom Designs Orlando. These guys are on Mills Avenue and do all sorts of stuff, ranging from photo ID badges, engraved signs, custom braille ADA signs, vinyl lettering to trophies and awards. The cool part about Custom Designs is they can ship products all over the United States. You can reach them at 407-898-0373 and tell them that
Tiberius
sent you.
And now it's time for the book of the week, The Road to Serfdom. This book is written by Connor Boyack. In fact, I have had the pleasure of interviewing Connor Boyack on this show. He was great. Let me to the back of the book. In fact, Daniel, would you like to do the honors?
I would love to. A twisted tale of unintended consequences unfolds. History abounds with examples of government officials making decisions, well-intentioned or otherwise, that harm others. Unfortunately, these unintended consequences are never anticipated and rarely considered once they occur. As the Tuttle twins find in their latest adventure, central planning can ruin people's lives.
Wow, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, this is a great book about Ethan and Emily going to the beach, but what happened to all the arcades and stores? So the Tuttle twins go to their favorite beach, La Plaza. But something was different. The main road was closed and everything was directed to a new, faster road. The only way to La Plaza was some older way back roads. Also, the stores were closed except for the restaurants and food places. This was bad. What happened here? What happened to Jack's knickknacks? So after some investigation, the twins found out that the people voted to let the government build a road that bypassed La Plaza and directed everyone to a new place called serfdom. This was collectivism. Collectivism is forcing individuals to act in a way that others have decided is the common good, prioritizing a group of people over each individual in it. Then they will go to serfdom, and it was a lot better than La Plaza. There were lots of people and new buildings, but the businesses that had to be in La Plaza had to move to serfdom to get customers. This hurt the city of La Plaza and the people that lived there. I learned a lot about unintended consequences in central planning. I learned sometimes that a few people can make decisions that will affect entire towns. I give The Road to Serfdom 10 out of 10 stars because I really liked the story, and it was very educational about what government does and how sometimes they can do good things but still have some bad results.
Wow.
See David Smith Law.com.
You can call him at 407-801-2667.
Wait, you are not Chuck.
My dad can help when people get hurt. He loves to help.
If you are ever injured at work or in a car accident, you should call my friend Chuck.
You can call him at 407-801-2667.
The website again is cwsmithlaw.com.
Offices, Orlando.
Does it actually have that much W's?
Mid-State Fire has been providing top-quality fire equipment services for 3 generations to the Central Florida area. Don't wait for an emergency to repair. Call Mid-State Fire today at 407-246-8855. Get your fire extinguishers and emergency lighting for both your home and businesses by visiting www.midstatefire.com. That number again is 407-246-8855. And now it's time for the interview of an interesting person. Today's guest is going to be so much fun. Today we have the one, the only, the amazing Daniel Whitehurst. Daniel is a musician, teacher, and puppeteer at Disney.
Yes. Thank you for having me again.
You're welcome. So first off, how are you enjoying being on the show?
I'm having a good time.
Okay, so I have to ask. For your bio, you did 3 completely different things. Which is your most fun to do?
Music. Music is the most fun. Definitely.
Well, what got you interested in being a musician?
When I was 3 years old, I saw the Jackson 5 on television. And I said, wow, that's what I want to do. I knew.
Wow.
At 3.
Well, what is your favorite genre of music?
If I have to say, probably R&B, but I like all music.
Okay. So, what is your favorite instrument to play, and what did you learn to play it?
Piano is my favorite. I didn't learn to play piano in college, but the first instrument that I learned to play was guitar. Well, sort of. My uncle Eddie, he put my first guitar in my hand. I was 8 years old, and I played it till the strings fell off, or popped off rather.
Okay, so from there you joined the Navy. Thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you.
Well, how did you decide to go into the military?
Well, here's the thing. Growing up, I knew I wanted to be a musician, but I always wanted to join the service. One, because, my family, long list of servicemen, and plus, growing up as a kid, watching a lot of G.I. Joe. It looked like excitement, adventure. Plus, I wanted to pay for college.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, what is the best part about being in the Navy?
Travel. I got to go to Japan, Alaska, South Korea, Rome. If I hadn't joined the Navy, I don't know if I would have been able to do any of that on my own.
So, when you got out of the Navy, you were a lifeguard. What made you want to be a lifeguard?
My father was a lifeguard. He used to tell stories, and I thought that would be interesting. Also, in the Navy, I was working as in the medical field. And they taught us all kind of things, right? They said, this is what we'll do unless it's a drowning victim. then you let the lifeguards take care of it. You can't take care of the victim until the lifeguard has brought them out of the water. And I thought, wow, the lifeguards must be pretty amazing people. So the first chance I got, I signed up, and over at Wet and Wild.
So did you get to save anybody?
Saved a lot of people. I was there for 8 years.
Wow. Okay, so how in the world did you become a teacher?
That is an interesting story. In 2000, I started doing some extra work, acting, TV shows, commercials, movies. Whenever something was in town, the agent called and said, hey, would you be interested? Of course I'd be interested. And I go down, and this is on a weekly basis. So I was reoccurring this, on the TV show called Sheena, and hoping to move my way up into a speaking role. So when 9/11 happened, and the economy went bad after that, everything in Orlando, I think, got canceled. Everything that came out of Hollywood, New York, gone. So everything had gone back to Hollywood and New York. I couldn't go with it. So someone suggested, well, why don't you become a substitute teacher? And I thought, substitute? Well, I could do that until the industry bounced back. But the industry never bounced back, and I fell in love with teaching. Not substitute teaching, but just
teaching.
Yeah, because here's the thing. When someone told me about subbing, and I knew I could be in front of kids, my first thought process was, I may get the chance to help a kid that was once like me, who wanted the knowledge that I have. Because for me to get to where I was a 30-year journey. So I said, I can teach someone in a short amount of time what it took me 30 years to learn. And if I could just help one kid, that would be worth it. But years later, of course, I ended up helping more than one kid.
So were you teaching in public school or private school?
I started in public school. I went to a charter school for 4 years, and now I'm back with public school.
So how is teaching in public school different than private school?
You mean charter school? Charter school is either private or public affiliated. Either way, they get to make their own rules. Where public school, all the rules are coming down from the district, from the top down, and it's a system, and you have to follow the system. Whereas charter school says, well, we're going to go in a different direction.
Now, my dad said that you were on stage with Disney as a puppeteer. Can you tell me more about that?
Absolutely. Back in 2000, they had a parade at Epcot called Tapestry. And when my mother came down for a visit, my wife and I, my mother, my little boy Genesis, when he was a baby, and we went to Epcot and we saw this parade, and I said, wow, I want to be a part of that. So the summer of 2002, I went and auditioned. And then the rest is history. I've been there for 18 years.
Wow. So until now?
Until now, yes.
So what was the coolest part about working for Disney?
All of it. I mean, just most of my life, I've always wanted to be a part of something greater than myself. And working for Disney, definitely you're a small part of something greater.
Okay. Well, what's the greatest achievement in life for you?
Wow, there's a lot of great achievements. You know what? Being on the radio show, being on this radio show is a great achievement. Yeah, it is. It really is. Graduating from college, serving in the military. So it's hard to say the greatest. You know what? I take that back. Of all the greatest achievements, my greatest achievement is being a father. That's definitely my greatest achievement because, I've written books, I've produced music, I've done shows, but my greatest production are my children. They are the best.
Aren't they the cutest?
They are. Well, they're grown now. Not all of them are grown. I have a daughter your age. Yeah, she's on YouTube. Geneva Nation.
Ooh.
Yeah. She does a lot of art on this channel.
Ooh, I love art.
She films everything herself. She edits everything herself. So it's quite impressive to see a 9-year-old kid. She does all the voiceovers. She plans it out. She's amazing.
Well, who helped motivate or inspire you the most in following your dreams?
The Jacksons. That and, George Lucas, Walt Disney, just ultimate entertainers. Tolkien, the Hobbit books. Just anybody who has anything. When I think about the people who inspire me, that inspired me. They're all creators,
Creators.
They're all creators.
So now I see that you started a company with El Listel that was on the show a few weeks ago.
Il
Can you
Dragon.
tell me more about that?
Yeah. Elle and I met in a heavy metal band.
Ooh.
Yeah. They were looking for a bass player. And I was like, at that time, the acting thing wasn't going to bounce back. And so I met Scott Hernandez. And he said, yeah, we're looking for a bass player. So that's how you talk. We're looking for a bass player. And I said, okay, you know what? I'll give it a shot. I had nothing to lose. All they could do was say no. So I took my bass, went over to the place, and we just jammed out, and Elle kind of sat back and watched and took it all in. And Elle was responsible for writing the lyrics and performing the lyrics. Because they had a lot of music, but they had no lyrics. That's why he's called the lyrical priest, because he
makes all the lyrics.
He makes all the lyrics. Long story short, we had a good run. We had a good little run. It was a short run, and we played some dives, but we had a short run. And Scott and Steve decided they wanted to go back to the garage. That performing and playing out was too much for them, and so they kicked Elle and I out of the group. And so Elle said, well, we're going to stick together. And we formed Rhythm Evolution. And, 2-man band. And, kind of developed our sound. He produced both albums. My solo album, which is Grown Folks Music, he produced both Rhythm Evolution albums. And then we formed Il Dragon behind it. And the rest is history. I mean, we've been together since 2011?
So what if I just get my listeners if they wanted to grow up and be a musician?
The first thing I would say is perfect your craft. Once you perfect your craft, just try to put yourself. When I was coming up, there was no Instagram, there was no YouTube. So it's easier, I think, now than it was when I was growing up. Because you had to have somebody put you on. And I didn't have a lot of people to put me on. And it wasn't until YouTube came around and the Facebook and the Instagram. So I would just say, don't do it. Just do it. Don't. I had a friend, a young lady. She says, what school should I go to for music? I said, don't go to school. Just get the instrument and just play and just learn how to play and just put yourself out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what if I should give my listeners if they wanted to be a public school teacher?
Oh, definitely. Math. Focus on math. Focus on English. Perfect that. Because it doesn't matter what you want to teach. There's a test called the general knowledge. And the general knowledge in Florida is math, English, reading, and you have to write an essay. Because you can pass your content area. Like if you want, there's a content area, right? If you want to teach music, there's a content area test for music. There's a content area test for English, social studies, whatever it is that you want to teach. However, you have to pass that general knowledge. And it's not easy. It's not hard. It can be done. Many people find that to be an obstacle. And you can't escape it because every test has one like it. It might be a little different, but every test has one like it. So by all means, focus on math, focus on reading.
Okay. Well, what was the biggest mistake you ever made, and how did it change you as a person?
The biggest mistake, the one that I kicked myself for. When I was young, my grandmother told me, go into the military and don't come out until you retire. You think I listened?
Yes.
I did not. I did 12 years and walked away. Could have just 8 more and just, could have, but I had two things that I wanted to do. One was go to college, which could have waited. And the other one was music, which waited anyway. So I think it was just about making my life stable and secure, but somehow I lost that,
I do understand. So when you're not working with music or teaching or working with Disney, what do you do for fun?
I chill with the family.
Okay. And can you tell me that one story? Remember, this is a kid's show, but that one story, well, that you're not supposed to tell me about. Come on, you can tell me.
When I was a kid, and I don't know if I told my mom about this, but she'd go to work, and my brothers and sisters, we would play in the living room, running up and down. And you ever heard the phrase, this is why we can't have nice things? Well, Mom and Dad used to buy these vases and put them on the house. And we knock over the vase, okay? And so it's like, the first time we got in so much trouble. And you think we learned, but we didn't. So, boom, boom, boom. And we broke the vase again. I remembered an episode, there's a show called The Brady Bunch, way before your time, where they glued this vase back together. So I said, hey, you remember the episode, The Brady Bunch? And they glued the vase back together. We scrounged around the house for some change. And I walked over to the store. I'm 10 years old, by myself. Walked to the store, bought some super glue, came back, and glued it back together. And so Mom and Dad never knew, right? The vase, we broke it again, and we broke it in several places, but we kept gluing it back together. And so one day, my dad was sitting down reading the newspaper, and he saw the vase, he looked, and he turned it, and he saw the cracks and the super glue. He was mad, but he was laughing at the same time, because the audacity, one, to be disobedient, and two, to try to hide it. And I think the cleverness, it's like if a kid hits a ball with a bat and breaks a window, so many yards. You broke that window. Wait, you broke that window? So, yeah, I think he was impressed and mad at the same time.
Well, is there anything else you think my listeners should know about you?
Well, follow me on YouTube. Daniel Whitehurst. Follow me on Instagram, Daniel Whitehurst Music.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I'm on SoundCloud.
Ooh.
The Tiberius Show would like to thank Boggy Creek Airboat Adventures for being one of our sponsors. I got to go on an airboat and saw a real gator. I even got to go to the gem mine and mine for some gems. We ate a steak dinner at the restaurant and even got some gator rights. If you want to have a blast with the entire family, I suggest you go to www.bcairboats.com right now. Get your tickets today. The website again is bcairboats.com. Oak Ridge Gun Range is a family-oriented shooting range that has been in business for over 30 years. They specialize in basic firearm training and offer numerous services such as consignments, gun trades, gunsmithing, and concealed weapon classes. I even got my training for gun safety at Oak Ridge Gun Range. Great customer service, and firearm safety is what they do best. So find out more at oakridgegunrange.com.
Tiberius' favorite subject, it's Math Corners!
And now it's time for Math Corners. Thank you so much, Daniel, for helping me with Math Corners. Today we're going to talk about beats in music. Wait, what does that have to do with math? Well, most beats are broken down into timing. They call it time signature. Most of the time, it is 4 beats per bar, like boom, 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 boom. This is used a lot to make like a pleasant rhythm. Knowing how many beats per bar you are working with may make it easier to make music that people might like. You know the timing, and then you will make the sounds at the correct time. For example, you could change the beat to have a long clang at the end. But you would ensure that it would only be 2 beats long, so it still sounded good. So you would want it to fill the entire time too. Like boom, boom, like boom, boom. Because the clang filled in the space of the 2 booms, and it still sounds good. So math can help ensure that the music sounds are good to hear. So Daniel, do you now know all about time signature?
Yes, I do.
Well, how do you use time signature?
Oh, in the music. But there's always the basic 4/4.
Basic 4/4, yeah. It's like the ta 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 ta.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, it could be ta ta ta.
Right.
Like quarter note, half note.
Right.
Or whole note.
Right.
Or
4 beats per measure.
yeah, 4
Usually
beats per
that's
measure.
the
maybe
standard.
a quarter note and a dotted half note. 3.
Definitely.
That would be cool. Well, thank you so much, Daniel, for your help with Math Corners.
Of course.
And now it's time for the Heart of a Lion. As you know, we talk about the qualities of living by a heart of a lion, which stands for leadership, integrity, obedience, and nobility. This week, we're going to talk about leadership. For me, I think leadership is the act of loving what is good, having self-control, and being disciplined. The qualities of leadership are providing guidance and direction, organization, and being a positive influence on others. So I was getting close to the end of the month, and while I had not started my book research project, my mom had asked me 10 times about doing it, and I kept putting it off. That is called procrastination. This is not one of the Lion Strong virtues. It takes leadership to avoid procrastination. My mom has set up a set of rules to ensure that I force myself to take the time to do the project. We went to the bookstore to get a book, and then we got us some poster boards. Then I read the entire book and took breaks in between. So I read for an hour, and then I took a break. If my mom had not provided guidance and direction as well as the organization to ensure that I started my project, it would still not be done today. I am happy to report that it is ready to turn in for next week on time. So Daniel, did you see or use leadership at all this week?
Of course. I teach it to my students.
Wow. Of all of the Heart of a Lion virtues, which is your favorite?
Immediately, my eye goes to integrity.
Well, why?
Because what are you doing when no one's looking? It's one thing when I'm watching you. What about when I don't see you?
It's also a really good question.
Yeah. One that I have to often ask.
Wow.
What are you doing when I'm not looking? That's integrity. If you are doing the right thing when I'm not looking, that's integrity.
Wow. It's good.
Thanks.
Well, we should always try and be lion strong in everything we do.
We should. We absolutely should.
And that's our show, folks. I want to thank the one, the only, the amazing Daniel Whitehurst for being on my show.
Thank you.
It has been so much fun talking with you today, and I hope one day to see your studio.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. One day you will.
Be sure to listen to us next week on the Tiberius Show. Just Tiberius! Boing!
The Tiberius Show is not filmed in front of a live studio audience. Executive producer Joseph Boyd. Production editor Pierre Laguerre. Green Room manager Danny Boyd. And your program host, Tiberius Boyd. The Tiberius Show is copyright 2018.